Today on Divorce Court.
I'm here at Divorce Court because our miscarriage affected our relationship tremendously.
When I try to talk to Porsha, it's like going back and forth. Nothing gets resolved.
Parish, anger issues, it affects my pregnancy by stressing me out.
I feel I don't disrespect Porsha. I feel I'm insensitive at times.
I hope the judge tells Parish to work on his anger.
I want to get the right direction from Judge Lynn Toler so that I can move further with my relationship.
Parish, I want you to change your attitude. I want you to help provide more for the family, and I want you to be there and to love me.
Divorce Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lynn Toler presiding.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today with Porsha King and Parish Wheeler. The two of you have been together for 5 years, engaged for the last year. You've come to me on before your vows. You want to know whether or not I think it's a good idea to get married. I've looked at your compatibility test. I've looked at your paperwork. I want to talk to you, and then I will give you my decision at the end whether or not I believe your union is ill-advised. Ms. King, let me start with you. Why don't you tell me why you love him, why you're here, but you're not quite sure you ought to marry him?
Yes, Judge Toler. I'm here today because I do love Parish genuinely, truly. But he has a lot of anger issues that I feel like he needs to work on. We've been going through a lot of pregnancies, and I've had a lot of miscarriages. Right now, I'm 11 weeks pregnant.
How many pregnancies have you had?
This will be the 4th.
And you've had three miscarriages with him?
Yes. With our recent miscarriage that we had, in the process of me having that miscarriage, I called Mr. Wheeler to the house because he was out with his friends. And he showed up at the house. However, he brought one of his friends to the house. So, of course, I was looking at him crazy, but I didn't really say much, and we proceeded to go to the hospital. He sped the whole way there, and when we got there, he told me that he was going to drop his friend off. My phone was dying, and I was waiting and waiting to the point where I got fed up and I was frustrated, and I left. I ended up walking home. It was cold that night, and of course, keep in mind, my phone was dying. So in the process of me calling him back and forth, he didn't believe that I was walking home from the hospital and accused me of having another gentleman pick me up.
Mr. Wheeler, did all of that occur?
Yes, ma'am, but not.
Give me your version of that event. Do you think she's misinterpreted what your intentions were?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me why.
My friend, he was already with me earlier that day. So when Porsha called me to take her to the hospital, my plan was to take her to the hospital. I didn't want him to be in the middle of our situation that we was going through. So I was going to drop him off, and I was going to come right back to her. In that process, she left. So I was calling and calling, but she wasn't answering.
How long were you gone?
20 minutes.
20 minutes?
15 minutes, not.
Okay. You know, when you got a situation like that, a woman is in a medical crisis, you don't leave and put your friend somewhere else. You tell him, man, you take care of your business, because I got to take care of mine. Did you understand what I'm saying? And you should have stayed at the hospital. I don't care whether he's there or not. You needed a doctor, not him. I mean, you needed him for support, but you stay at the hospital. Give me some other examples of why you believe Mr. Wheeler is insensitive or has anger issues, either one.
Well, I could start off with the anger issues. He gets very upset, and it really comes from behind when he ends up drinking. He has, I believe, split personalities. He has several personalities. Parish, he's loving and genuine. Pete, he's fun and laid back.
Is Pete like early drunk, Mr. Wheeler?
No, he's not drunk. Pete's not drunk.
Okay.
Charles,
when does Pete show?
He shows up when Parish doesn't want to be loving. You know, he's like the homeboy type of personality. Charles, he that's when the drinking starts, and he gets a little bit beside himself. You have Pistol Pete as well, and that's when the thug life comes out of him.
Pistol Pete. Now, is Pistol Pete drunk too?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
For an example, we were at a family event. We had the kids out, you know, having a good time, ordered pizza, and the grown folks were playing cards. He was my partner in cards, and, you know, I wasn't saying anything, just sitting pretty and being quiet while the men, they're talking trash. And one of the gentlemen told Pistol Pete, you need to check your girl. And he looked at him, and I was looking at him like, don't do it, don't do it. And he got up and got into a bad altercation.
With the dude?
Yes. To the point where all of the kids heard the commotion, so they came out, and we're trying to stop him in the process of doing it. And it was embarrassing to the point where I told him we got to leave.
Now, Pistol Pete, did that happen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Would you describe yourself as an angry drunk or a boisterous drunk, or do you think it's simply circumstances and unrelated to alcohol?
Circumstances.
Okay.
Certain circumstances.
Now, how many altercations like that do you have in any given year?
2 or 3.
2 or 3? Now, you know that's not true. You said it in a way that I know it's not
Man,
true.
it's been more than that.
Do you...
But I feel justified.
Everybody always does. You know what I mean? Alcohol will justify a lot. Do you think you have a problem with alcohol?
No, ma'am.
You don't think so?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Do you think he has a problem with alcohol?
Yes, and a great example, he was drinking, and it was to the point where he got real nasty with me. And he got real upset and disrespectful to the point where he ripped up my clothes and bleached my clothes because I would not come back to the house because of the drinking and his attitude. And I do have evidence.
There it is. So you bleached your clothes?
I did.
I want to talk about why you would rip up somebody's clothes, why that would seem reasonable to you. And number 2, I want to talk to you about the fact that you made it very clear in your paperwork that you think he does not respect women.
Me and my son was in the living room sleeping, and I hear a bang on the door. I looked outside the door, and it's 5 women outside. I did not know what they were capable of doing. I went outside with my shotgun.
So we were talking about you tearing up her clothes. What was going on then? Were you just drunk and just did it?
No, ma'am.
Tell me what was your reasoning behind all of that?
Okay, earlier that day, I had picked her up from work. So in the process, another family member got in touch with Porsha or whatever, and they discussed something. I gave my other baby mother $40 in her driveway, and Porsha made it like it was a big problem. So that's how the initial argument started. That's what made her want to leave. Okay, and so while she was gone, they're telling Porsha all kind of other extra stuff. I talked to this girl and that girl and this girl. And so now the argument's not even about the initial argument.
You just arguing
it's
about,
just arguing about everything now. So, and she wouldn't come home, and I just told her I was gonna bring your stuff to you then.
And you brought it all.
Yeah,
it was just a childish thing to do. We all get that. Yeah, I understand you've seen this show before, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What do I call that kind of nonsense?
Juvenile.
No, it's the
Stupid
stupid tax.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the stupid tax. You keep paying for stuff you've already done because bleaching clothes doesn't convince anybody of anything. Ms. King, why do you believe Mr. Wheeler does not respect women?
Well, for instance, like you said, we'll sit down and watch a show, and some of the women does crazy things, or they'll go outside of their relationship and, you know, sleep with other people. He calls them everything under the sun, but the male could say that they did the same thing, and he has nothing to say at all.
Other than that, is he disrespectful to you or the women in his life?
I can't say for the women in his life. He very, very loves his mother genuinely and truly, so nothing but respect across the board. But when it comes to me, he can become very disrespectful.
Give me an example.
Like I said, I have issues with my pregnancy, and I take blood thinners now that I'm pregnant to help with this pregnancy. And I told him before that I need him to drive me to work. He got upset, and he was like, I can't do anything, and just cussing, you can't do anything with yourself, and you know, you're being dramatic. So on my way to work, when I was at a stoplight, I had a lady in front of me, and
There was a collision, and then?
Yes, the collision happened, and I called him and I told him about it. And he was like, that was just such a dumb decision, and that's just careless of you, and you just act stupid, and you act like you don't have a mind of your own.
So anytime you do anything wrong, he's just all over you about it, and it's not just a mistake or a boo-boo. It goes to your character, your intellect, your ability. Mr. Wheeler, well, tell me the shotgun story, and then I'm gonna go to you. What happened with the shotgun?
Well, it's a woman that's constantly in and out of our relationship. We had an issue in the past. We were not exclusive towards each other. And once when we did establish that we were gonna be exclusive, this lady keeps popping up. She has came over to my house before, and we've talked, and he basically told her that he doesn't want to be with her. She popped up when I had the miscarriage. She was questioning him about, oh, you got that be pregnant and this, that, and the third. He did put her in her place. However, the third time, me and my son was in the living room sleeping, and I hear a bang on the door. I looked outside the door, and it's 5 women outside. I did not know what they were capable of doing. So I called Mr. Wheeler, and I'm like, these girls out here, they're asking for you. And he just recently left the house. He pulled back up, but when he pulled up, they were gone. So then he was getting ready to leave back to his cousin's house. But we stay across the street from a church. We didn't know that they were right there, so when they seen him getting ready to leave again...
They came back.
They came back. When they came back, I went outside with my shotgun because I did not know what they were capable of doing. And when I looked beside myself, Mr. Wheeler was standing right there lusting over me. Over the fact that I was doing that. It turned him on. But the girl, she never popped back up in our relationship.
I imagine not. I imagine not. I want to talk to Mr. Wheeler about his beliefs and feelings about women and his concerns that you may be cheating.
He felt like I was dealing with other men. It was to the point where he broke my phone, and I ended up calling the police.
Did you get so angry you tore up her phone? Mr. Wheeler, Ms. King alleged that you're disrespectful to her as a person and as a woman. What is your response to that claim?
I don't feel like I be being disrespectful. Like, I love women. I mean, like she's standing here saying that I'm disrespectful to a woman. I believe a black woman is the dignity of the black race. So I feel like I'm gonna keep a woman's head lifted high as I can anyway.
Do you treat them like that, though? She says, the women on this show, you call them B's and H's, and whenever she makes a mistake, it's not just a mistake, it is an indictment of her character. Is any of that accurate?
I just be trying to help.
You just be trying to help. How do you try to help?
I mean, if she's rough in the area, I just try to help her in that area.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna talk about how you do that. Tell me about the time he got upset because he believed you were cheating and you had to call the police.
Well, he felt like I was dealing with other men, again, due to the fact that when we first started talking, we were not exclusive. And it was to the point where he broke my phone, and I felt like this is it. This is the moment. This is the breaking point. I couldn't take it anymore, and I ended up calling the police because I didn't know what he was capable of. When he's angry, he's a completely different person. I called the police to basically escort me out the house so that I can go.
Did you get so angry you tore up her phone?
Yes, Your Honor.
And she felt the need to call the police because she was uncertain about her safety?
I mean, I can't say how she felt.
Right.
As far as having to call the police, but yes, I did. That altercation did happen.
Now, were you drinking when you broke the phone?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh. Do you see any correlation between your misbehaviors and your alcohol?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. In her paperwork, she claimed that she feels like you hold her responsible for her miscarriages. Do you tell her that she's not doing the right thing?
I have, because she was skipping days on her prenatal vitamins, so I was wrong for that because I know that skipping a couple days without a prenatal vitamin would not cause a miscarriage.
How do you feel he responds to your miscarriages and the things that you do that he believes brings them on?
His attitude towards all of that is get over it. I mean, it's hard. He's not physically going through it, even though he's mentally there. is completely different when you're actually going through that process. And on top of that, I felt like I really needed much more time to heal. We didn't figure out what was going on. We found out that my thyroids were very low, and that's why I'm taking blood thinners to help.
Given your situation, is he the primary breadwinner?
He was at a point in time, but once when his job site ended, I'm the primary breadwinner.
How long ago was that?
It was last year.
Last year?
Yes.
Are you working now?
All with my family members off and on.
Off and on.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me explain to you what's wrong. Divorce Court will be right back. Couple of things going wrong here. Number one, the overall concept of actively trying to have children with a man that you're not married to and who doesn't treat you quite well, it's bothersome to me. You know, oops, babies happens, but you're actively trying to have a baby with who breaks your phone, who tears up your clothes, who you put out of the house because he's so badly behaved, because he drinks too much, and you're actively trying to have a baby with him. That, to me, does not make sense. Now, you currently pregnant. I hope that baby gets out here fine, happy, bouncy, and loving, and woo-woo. But babies don't make your life better. You love them, but they make your life harder. And if you're not stable and together and all that, having babies does not make the situation better. I don't think that is a commonsensical idea to try to have children in the midst of an unstable relationship to a man to whom you are not married. That's both of you. Do you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Number two, let me tell you what her problem is. Her problem is she's responsible. Her problem is she's stressed out. Her problem is that you don't support her. And what happens is you respond emotionally to everything that happens. You respond to no prenatal vitamins as yelling at her. That's not helpful. That's like having a Ferrari. But that's not working right. Instead of going out looking under the hood and figuring it out, you go out and kick it. And then you kick it again. And as you're kicking your Ferrari, it doesn't make it work any better, and it makes it less valuable. That's what you're doing to her. Every time you get drunk, carry on, unsupportive, bleach your clothes, break a phone, not coming in like, hey, baby, you under stress, you got a problem. I got the money. You come to her with want, but no, you don't deliver anything other than semen. You with me? The first question you gotta ask yourself before you ever open your mouth to her again is what I'm about to say or do supportive of who she is and the life that I share with her that she is carrying in her body right now? And if you can't answer that question in a positive fashion, keep your mouth shut. You understand what I'm talking about? Good luck to you. I wish you the best. I'm gonna give you a tape of this so I can holler at him every other day and get you the support you need. But you remember what I told you?
Yes, ma'am.
You got it?
Yes.
This matter is adjourned.
Now we know you're a fan of the show.
Yes.
Is this what you expected?
I was expecting her to basically give us a little bit more guidance, but I mean, again, we got a lot of work to do.
What's your response here to hearing what Judge Lynn had to say?
Listen to her more. Ask her what can I offer more than take.